Hey friends, in this video, we're gonna go over Langchain, which is a ChatGPT on steroids because it's a framework dealing with large language models that we can import into our own application. In this tutorial, we'll be creating a UI interface where you can ask questions, and it's gonna be connected to our backend large language model using Langchain and OpenAI. So let's quit wasting time here and let's dive into this tutorial. All right, so right here, I have Visual Studio running with only a main.py file created. So let's first go ahead and say pip install, and we want to install Langchain, OpenAI, and Streamlit. This will download all the dependencies and all the libraries that we need for this application. Now, the next thing we need to do is export our API key that we got from OpenAI. If you don't have an API key, go to OpenAI, log in or create an account, and then go fetch your key from there. Now, to be able to create our OpenAI key as an environmental variable, we need to go ahead and say export OpenAI underscore API underscore key. Now here, I'm going to paste in my API key for OpenAI. I'm not gonna show it for obvious reasons, but once you do that, come back to the tutorial. All right, I've exported my key, and now the very first thing we want to do is say from langchain.llms import OpenAI. This is the first thing we need to do to be able to connect our application to the OpenAI large language model. Now, the next thing we need to do is create a variable. I'm going to name it LLM, which is our large language model. I'm going to say is equal to our OpenAI. And now OpenAI takes in one parameter. This parameter is temperature. Temperature goes on a scale of 0 to 1. So you can say like 0.6, which I'm going to pass in. And this is really just how random the solution is going to be. So if you say a 0, it's not going to be very creative. If you say a 1, it's going to be extremely creative. So typically I go around a 0.6 to try and add some creativity to our OpenAI models. The next thing we want to add here is a name variable, which I'm going to say is equal to our large language model. And inside here, we can pass in the parameter of what we want the main backend prompt to be. So here we can see that it's create a book title for a novel on computer science. If we went ahead and just said we now want to print this name and we run this application, we can see that it's going to now fetch OpenAI's large language model. It's going to take in the creative book title for a novel on computer science, and now it just returned a solution of The Art of Code, a guide to becoming a computer science master. If we tried it again, it's going to generate a brand new solution to our book title. So this time it's going to say Programming Dreams, a guide to computer science. Now this is an unbelievable basic example of a large language model using Langchain and OpenAI. So the next thing we can do is now have a user pass in data that will influence this prompt. So for example, above. All right, now let's go ahead and create a new import from langchain.prompts import prompt template. We then can create a new variable of prompt underscore template, which is equal to the new prompt template that we just created. And now inside here, the prompt template takes two things. The first being input variables, which is going to be equal to an array or a list, and I'm going to name this category. The next thing it takes in is our template, which is going to be this text right here that we created. And now instead of computer science, we want to change this using brackets to category. So now instead of just saying, hey, create a book title for a novel on computer science, we want the user to pass in a category that will impact this prompt template. Now to do this, we can delete this and we want to create a chain. Now think of a chain almost like a chain of events for our large language model. So we can say chain equals our large language model chain, and we need to first import this. We can say import langchain.chains, and we want to import our large language model chain. And now inside here, this takes some parameters as well, where we can say LLM equals our LLM. So we're passing in our OpenAI. And then we want our prompt to equal our prompt template that we created above. And now inside our print, we can print our chain dot run, and we can pass in our category right here. So just to start, just like before, I'm gonna say computer science, where we get an introduction to the digital world, a guide to computer science. We can change this to space. If we change it to space, we'll get exploring the unknown, a journey through the vastness of space. And we can even change this to something like education, where now if we run this, we will get a new book title fully created from our large language model. So we're gonna get The Education Revolution, a path to unlocking potential. All right, this is awesome stuff. So the next thing we want to do is have a user be able to type in education or computer science or whatever they want their book title to generate. And we want a user interface, potentially a browser. We're gonna be creating a browser where the user can type this in and then get the response on the same spot. So to start, I'm just going to comment everything out, and right above here, first need to import Streamlit as ST. We can then say ST dot title, where we can say, let me answer anything for you, where it'll accept a prompt that is equal to st.text input, where we can say ask question here. We then want our large language model to still be OpenAI with a temperature of 0.6. And we can say if prompt response equals our large language model on our prompt, st.write response. All right, so if we start with this and we just run this application, it's now gonna be creating it. Actually, to use Streamlit, it's gonna tell us that we need to use Streamlit. So right here, we need to run this command of Streamlit run main.py. Now, once you create this, it will open up a web browser. So right here's our application. Let me answer anything for you, ask question here. So what is the tallest mountain in the world? It's thinking, and then it's gonna say the tallest mountain in the world is Mount Everest, with a total height of 29,029 feet. That is super high above sea level. So this is kind of just like a chat GPT right here, right? We can just ask it any question and it will tell us anything. So what is the average shoe size in America? The average shoe size in the United States is size 10 for men and size 8.5 for women. So this is already off to a great start, but let's now customize it to be exactly what we need. And we need a book title generator where a user can pass in a category and we create the book title based on the category provided. So let's change this to, let me create a book title for you. We'll say add category here. We still want to use our large language model with OpenAI temperature of 0.6. We now want to use this prompt template that we already created before, where we can say the category, and we want this to create a book title for a novel on this category. Now remember, this is the prompt for our OpenAI large language model, while this is the title of the web page. And now we want to go ahead and grab this chain that we already created before and say chain equals this large language model, where we pass in our large language model of OpenAI with our prompt of our prompt template. And now instead of saying our large language model with our prompt, we want to say chain.run, where we are going to say our category is equal to our prompt. All right, let's go back to our web application and let's refresh the page where it says, now let me create a book title for you. So you add your category here. And to start, I will say computer science, where it says The Art of Computer Science, a guide to mastering the digital age. We can say history, The Forgotten Chronicles, a journey through time. Art, The Art of Creation, a journey through the world of art. So here we created a user interface where a user can type in a question. So let's say it's about a company and a user wants to know information about the company. Well, we can use Langchain to change the aspect of the question the user is asking to be more in line with the company or change the prompt a little bit. So this is extremely quick intro to Langchain, and I will see you in the next video.